Good evening, folks. And tonight we're going to talk about the sizing of how Michigan did against Texas. That absolutely resounding victory by Texas. The beef brisket that Texas made out of Michigan. And Michigan's future, what they hold. And Oregon's future, how they would look after their squeaking past Boise State, and Ohio State on how they look against Marshall after their resounding victory against Western Michigan. And these are the stat numbers. Now, this doesn't look real easy to even explain, but we'll start with Oregon by the numbers. Oregon, we'll start with them first. Oregon won very well. Number 7, Oregon, 37-34. And then number 8, Dylan Gabriel, went 18 of 21 for 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11.5 yards he averaged. Number 20, Jordan James, 17 carries, 102 yards, 12 was the longest, 6 yards averaged. Number 7, Evan Stewart, 5 receptions, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, 67 yards the longest, 22.4 yards average. Okay, fair. 109 yards total for the running game. 350 total yards for Oregon altogether. Now, we go down here to Boise State. Boise State had plenty of opportunities to stop them. So many opportunities. Boise State's Maddox Madsen, number 4. 17 of 40. 148 total passing yards. 1 touchdown. 3.7 yards average. Then got number 2, Ashton Ginty. 25 carries, 192 yards, 7.7 yards average. 3 touchdowns. 70 was the longest, 220 total rushing yards. The number 9, Cameron Camper. 4 receptions, 52 yards, 1 touchdown, 21 the longest. 13 yards average. 369 total yards. 19 yards more than Oregon. The yards might show different, but the yardage is different. Now, Ohio State, on the other hand, this is the same Western Michigan team that literally led Wisconsin at the end of the fourth quarter, to start the fourth quarter, up 14-7. Wisconsin scored 21 unanswered points to win it 28-14. Now, we go to this game. I don't know if this team is just that much better, or if Wisconsin is a weak team, or if Wisconsin is just not that good, or what goes on here. But number 2, Ohio State, puts the stomping on Western Michigan, 56-0. The stats are as follow. Number 18, Will Howard, 18 of 26 for 292 total yards, 1 touchdown, 11.2 yards average, 390 yards. Number 1, Quinshon Junkins, 9 carries, 108 yards, 1 touchdown, 80 the longest, 12 average. 269 total rushing yards. Number 4, Jeremiah Smith, 4 receiving yards, 5 receptions, 119 yards, 1 touchdown, 70 the longest, 23.8 average. And now, the other quarterbacks who were in charge. Number 10, Julian Sayin, 2 for 2, 61 yards, 1 touchdown, 30.8 5 yards average. That says a lot. Devin Brown, number 33, 5 of 5, 55 yards, 11 yards average. Then the defense. Now in the Ohio State's, what did Ohio State allow? Let's look at it here. Hayden Wolf, number 11, 8 of 16, 71 yards, 4 of 4 average. Keyshawn King, 8 carries, 22 yards. 8 was the longest, 2.2 yards average. 28 total rushing yards. Then Anthony Scambuki, or something like that, I can't pronounce it. 3 receptions, 41 yards, 13.7 yards average, 19 the longest, 99 total yards. What's that tell you? What's that tell you? That tells you a lot. Then you get Michigan and Texas. Number 3, Texas, and number 10, Michigan. Number 16, Warren Davis, went 22 of 33 for 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He averaged 6.2 yards per pass. Donovan Edwards, 8 carries, 41 yards, 5.1 yards average, 12 the longest. And once again, Colston Loveland, 8 receptions, 70 yards, 8.8 average, 24 the longest, 284 total yards. But, I mean, I really don't know where to start with this game. It's just, they had 80 total rushing yards altogether, with 200, and he came up with the most there. Donovan Edwards did. Now you look at Texas, the former Ohio State quarterback, and Ohio State transferred Texas to Texas, Quinn Ewers, went 24-36 for 246 yards, 3 touchdowns. He averaged 6.8 yards average. Then, on the swing around, the highest was Ryan Wingo, number 5, 1 carry for 55 yards for 143. Then number 85, Gunnar Helm, 7 receptions, 98 yards, 1 touchdown, 22 the longest, 14 yards average, 389 total yards. What's that tell you about this team? Texas came to play. Michigan didn't even show up. Now, what's this show you about Davis Warren last week? 15 of 25. 15 of 25 last week for 118 yards. I mean, it seems like he kind of improved a little bit this week. But seriously, I literally don't see how this is any better than it was last week. 22 of 33, 204 yards versus 15 of 25 for 118 yards. I see that what it looked like they were only on first gear. It's like they never came out of... They were pretty much playing where they left off last week. It's like they never really picked up the pace of anything. I'm not saying Michigan is not a bad team. They're a good team. I just feel like they need to step it up if they want to prove themselves worthy of anything. Now, the team they play against is Arkansas State, which they've beat 2 nobody teams. They beat Central Arkansas 34-31, and Arkansas State. Then they also beat Tulsa 28-24. So this should be a no-brainer for Michigan to win. I mean, I can't imagine if they struggle to beat Arkansas State, then there's obviously something eternally going on here. 31-12 against number 3 Texas tells you a lot you need to know about Texas and Michigan. Michigan was just outclassed, outplayed, and obviously Quinn Ewers knew not to throw it deep to Will Johnson, where Will Johnson was very well played at. He always was deep. Now, he played him very smart, and that's how it was played. Now, if we go over these games real well, we'll explain them. Jalen Rayner, number 1, went 24-47 for 317 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against Central Arkansas, 6.7 yards average. The number 2, Jaquez Cross, went 13 carries, 50 yards, 8 the longest, 3.8 yards average for 140 yards. Then number 7, Corey Rucker, 9 receptions, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, 58 the longest, 19.9 average. 457 total yards. The defense, 197 yards passing, 235 yards rushing, 432 yards allowed. So, this defense seems like they're just as good as anybody out there that Michigan played against. Their defense, Michigan's defense should be able to manhandle that. If not, then we got a problem. Now, the second game, they put up just as many numbers, if not any better. They beat Tulsa 28-24, and it was Rayner again, 21-32 for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And number 21, Zach Wallace had 16 carries, 79 yards, 22 the longest, 4.9 yards average for 137 yards. Number 15, Reagan Ely, 6 receptions, 68 yards, 21 the longest, 11.3 yards average, 392 total yards. Now the defense kind of gave up a decent amount of yardage. I mean, 362, 199 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 163 yards, rushing yards, 362 yards altogether, total yards. That tells you a lot you need to know about Arkansas State. Michigan shouldn't have any issues with them. I mean, Michigan gave up 389 yards. I mean, these guys, this looks more like a passing team. And if they are much of a passing team like Quinn Ewers were, if Arkansas State is smart enough, they would play like Quinn Ewers did. Throw the ball short, away from Will Johnson, and pretty much roll everything else. It'd be a big-time win for them if they do it that way. Now, as of Oregon, their chances, they play, it's the Civil War for them now. They got Oregon State. They beat the pants off of Idaho State, 38-15, and number 20. Then they shut out their last game. They won. They pretty much demolished San Diego State, 21-0. They didn't even let anything go for them. Now, the offense for that game against Idaho State, Oregon State's number 4, Giovanni McCoy, went 9 of 10. Pretty good passing game there. 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 11.4 yards average, 148 yards. Number 8, Jam Griffin, 20 carries, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 yards average, 362 yards. Number 6, David Wells Jr., 2 receptions, 63 yards, 1 touchdown, 31.5 yards average, 510 total yards. Now the Oregon State defense, 229 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 82 rushing yards, 311 total yards. Now, against San Diego State, McCoy again, 15 of 25, 160 yards, 6.4 yards average for 183 yards. Because they had a second stringer in there. Then Griffin again, 19 carries, 93 yards, 1 touchdown, 4.9 yards average, 16 longest, 237 total yards. The number 7, Trent Walker, 8 receptions, 92 yards, 11.5 average, 41 the longest, 410 total yards. Now the defense, on the other hand, 106 yards passing, 4.2 average, 72 yards, rushing, 2.8 average, 178 total yards. That there tells you what you need to know about these teams. I can't say these teams are weak. Oregon State and Oregon will be a decent showdown, without a doubt. Oregon State and Oregon, that will be a game to watch. So who knows who will win that game? I don't know. Now, Arkansas State and Michigan, that will be a good game to watch as well. Because Michigan will have a very good game to talk about because they are already showing how good they really are. Because Michigan is just really good. Now, with that being said, Davis Warren, he's just got to start playing a better game. I mean, 2 interceptions this week. And he threw a interception last week. It just shows you that you can't take any team for granted. Every team you play against has something that you don't know about. You can't play any team softly like you did against Texas. I feel like they only stayed in one gear and didn't step it up in the second half. Texas Quinn Ewers played strong and never really quit. That's just how good Texas really is this year. Now, we'll talk about these other games here tomorrow night. Sometime tomorrow when I get it, or maybe on Tuesday when I have a better idea about what to say. Now, with that being said, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications. With that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.